Coach Stephenson.
Hey, how we doing, sir?
Good, good. Yeah. So we're taking over Coach's time. So you have about 45 minutes. You can let it roll. Do what you want. I'm gonna back out. And you take it over.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much. It's been doing a great job. Okay, let me get my screen going here. Yep. And I want to share this. Okay, make sure I'm sharing. Can you see my second screen, Coach?
Yes, I can. You're on.
Perfect. Okay. Excellent. Just making sure. All right. Good afternoon, coaches. Hope like yourselves, I'm absolutely enjoying this day. Been up watching it since 5 a.m. Like most of you guys. So I'm really enjoying where we are so far. My name is Tarquin Stephenson. I am the offensive line coach at Mission Viejo out here in now sunny California. We've been getting bombarded by some heavy storms recently, so we're kind of getting back to our lovely sunshine. I have my details for my phone number, my email, my Twitter. Please add me, text me, email me. If you add me on Twitter, I'll for sure follow you back. I'm someone that wants to kind of keep learning and keep teaching the stuff that we do out here and what I've been doing for a while. So yeah, so please, I'll come back to the screen at the beginning for you too. Okay, so as ever, just going to talk a little bit about myself. Yes, the accent is real. I am originally from England, North London. To be precise, I am born and raised. I moved out here about 10 years ago now. But yes, I am an Englishman coaching American football. Contrary to popular belief, American football has been playing in England for about 40 plus years at a pretty okay level. There's some great guys that play out. I've gone out and played in the pros and college, etc. now, and it's becoming more of a tapped market. So for you college coaches, I highly recommend you start linking and connecting with those guys in England and in Europe because there is some phenomenal talent, as you're slowly starting to see. I have been coaching for 18 years. All in all, so far, feels a lot longer than that. A few of those gray hairs are coming through, like most people. But yes, 18 years coaching from 10 out from about 9 out in the UK and then 10 out here in the States. When I was coaching back in England, I was coaching at Essex Blades, which is our collegiate level, and coaches the Gladiators, which is our sort of an adult league amateur level, and they're both in the same area, the same town. As a player, and as a coach, I played in what we call our Southern All Stars at collegiate level, and then for Great Britain at our collegiate level. And was coaching there too. I was coaching O-line and D-line on and off for those years. And then fortunately tore my knee. And then I was kind of moving into coaching anyway. I left the rain to come to sunshine. Ironically, the next day after I moved out here, made the big move, it rained nonstop all day. And I wasn't particularly happy about that. But then it didn't rain for nearly a year after that. So I was like, I think I've made a good choice coming out to California. And so the first team I ended up coaching with was in Laguna Beach High School and was there for 5 seasons, made to what we call our CIF semifinals twice. Actually, that was one of, I think, if I remember correctly, it's about 6 or 7 times I've had done in their 90-year history. So it was it's not known as a football program. It's getting better now for sure. But it's very much known for actually water polo is what they're very, very good at, the girls in particular. And then at Dana Hills, I was there during that pandemic time. So it was, we had 1.5 seasons, but it spanned over 3 years because everyone was trying to get ready to get back to playing the sport. Fortunately, between Laguna Beach and Dana Hills are one of two very few schools that actually had an ocean view. So I was quite fortunate to have that luxury. And then I've been at Mission Viejo since 2021, or 2021, should I say, till present. And, a couple of stats since I've been there, because I'm talking about pass protection, and this is what my talk's going to be about. One of the main things is that, and I hate like all you coaches, you hate giving up sacks, right, at the best of times. But when I actually kind of did the calculating of the numbers from pass plays, we only gave up 28 sacks and 640 pass plays in the last 2 seasons. So that gives you around about just over 4% of the plays is going to end up being in a sack, and that's a number I want to keep trying to reduce. So, and considering the level and the teams that we play out here, we're pretty fortunate to kind of work on having a pretty good set on our protection and the work that I do with the kids. And last year, I'm really proud of it. We ended up being number 3 in California, number 1 public school here, and we finished 32 in the nation. We were at 15, I think, and that was just prior to the playoffs. And once the playoffs finished, it moved on from there. So that's a little bit of my story. Now, moving on to what is a no-fly zone. Okay, this is what the topic was about defending. You know, people wondering if we're going to talk about fly sweep or anything, but no, the no-fly zone that we're looking at, we talk about, is actually an area that we will protect. And when I measure it for the kids and I tell my kids, I say, hey, we're looking from the left guard's left foot to the right guard's left foot, and you're going as deep as a quarterback. If he's in guns, if he's understanding, he's looking at 5 to 7 yards. Is that area. But usually talking about 5 yards and sort of our depth. We ensure that our running backs are part of that and understand that too. They're just as important in our structuring of our protection and how we work as much as it is the offensive line. That no-fly zone means absolutely nothing should be getting in that area. If anything gets into the area, it should be getting cleared out immediately. Now, if you could be washing a guy through, that's fine. But that quarterback needs to be clean. You know, I always tell my kids, always tell people I coach and talk to, is that for me, the best player you have in your protection is your quarterback that gets the ball out on time. If he gets it out on time, your sack numbers will come down, makes life so much more easier for you, and he can help you when you're game planning against a dude that's playing as an end or 3-tech, whatever he may be. The quarterback can feel any pressure. We keep protecting that zone. He's got a clean pocket. Good things will tend to happen. When we don't, the correlation matches that it's always going to drop. We get forced throws, incompletions, or interceptions. With that zone, and it's a tangible area. So when I do my grading and looking at games and I see, hey, we had a nice completion, but if I see anyone within that area, and if it's that player that's protecting, he'll lose a point. So I'm a 0-1-2 guy, so he'll end up being a 1 on that as an example. So it's really key that we protect this area. Just keep that sort of military style. Nothing comes in this area. And if you want to try and be in here, we want to make sure it's game over and get you out of here. So moving on to sort of my philosophy. Okay, so as everyone will have a philosophy in what they look at and what they discuss in terms of how they kind of build a protection. For me, the most important thing is you got to get out your stance. Okay, get out your stance, and you got to win the set. And you've got to win the set of your feet. Now, when I talk to my guys winning that set, getting to that spot, I don't necessarily give them an arbitrary number. Hey, you must kick 3 times, or you must do this 2 times. Not necessarily that's the case. It's just about getting to your spot, okay, based on leverage, which is the next point, but getting to your spot, getting ready to have that fight right there and then. If you're a jump set guy, you better be going, being aggressive right now and get onto him. Okay, close that space and go right now. Win that set with your feet. Be aggressive. If you're going to be set in vertical 45, which I do, then you got to understand you're going to get to your spot. But then when you get that set with your feet, now we can start our battle. We have to understand our leverage. Biggest thing that I ever see from when I'm self-scouting to looking at other schools, other things, anything you're just looking at when you look at linemen, because we can't help but watch stuff, even when you watch the poses, people understanding their leverage. The number of kids that don't understand that if he's tight in his alignment, okay, and I want you to be in my set, need a crutch, K to C, need a crutch, and you already need a crutch, you don't need to go anywhere. That's the problem when kids start to overset. So we try and think, well, hey, look at where he's at. If he widens out, he's tilted, okay, so then he's maybe going to give you that outside move, or he's going to give you a starter step, working inside move, but then you're probably going to kick a 45 if you're a guard. Okay, if you're a center with our angle set, you're going to maybe end up being nose to nose because you got a tight 1 to 0. Okay, and then if we're working as our tackles, the width, if you get that wide 7 or wide 9, however you put your alignment, then you know you've got to get your set to that spot. Okay, my leverage has got to be, well, I need to get knee to crotch, so I need to get width and then a little bit of depth. Okay, with my set angles, I'm a hard 45 vertical guy. Hard was we're looking at very much being sort of your post or you're powering down inside, protecting on that quick game. Okay, really physical and hard, 45 set and vertical. Okay, end to end is nose to nose, is particularly for our center. And you know, a guard maybe when he's got super tight in a 3-tech or he's got a 2-tech. And then but really I want to be a knee to crotch guy. Okay, half man, whatever, however you want to describe it. Hips are square for as long as you can. Okay, you're going to be as long as you can, keep them square. I think that's universal for everyone, and that hasn't changed for me or for anyone for the longest time. You want to be a square for as long as you can. The moment you open, your knee gets out, you open out your hips, and you're squaring up to the guy, then you become to base, and then now you're in trouble. That's when DNs can start going long arm stabs, speed of power right down your chest. That's when you're in for a long day. Okay, you're trying to keep it square, keep that knee to crotch relationship, and then we can work our width and our depth depending on where you're at. With the strike, with the strike, I always tell my guys, it's like your strike timing and your distance is you want to treat it like you're shaking someone's hand. If you find your kids or your players are getting far too long and their hands are out here, then you just know, well, hey, if you're going too long, get them out of here. Just go. Right now, we're just going to end up going. Think about a handshake. You don't shake someone's hand by kind of dapping them up and being kind of like really tight. You think you want to be nice and long about it. You want to be out here. They're out here all too long. You want to be tight, right? I want to shake your hand. Sorry. I mean, you want to be right here and shake your hand. That's why I know my elbows are tight. Everything's working nice and tight inside when I'm working on my strike. That's what I'm trying to get to. So when I will say to those guys, just think about trying to shake someone's hand. Hey, kid, think. Shake his hand. Shake his hand. Okay? The QB depth, we have to know it. Okay? I know it's one of those things where we can sit back and you think, well, hey, we're just going to go and protect, drop to a certain spot. We have to know that depth. Okay? Invariably, we're more of a shotgun, sidecar sort of team. We do play with some pistol and under center at times, but we are a sidecar shotgun team. So then our quarterback may be doing, in his 5, he may do a quick 1.5 step, getting to that 6.5. He might be end up doing a little bit deeper. When he's under center, he might do a deep play action at 7. Our protections and how we work, the kids have to know that depth because we know the defensive, especially the defensive ends, are working at contain, working at rush, are going to work back and work flat or try and gain up to try and work up to our quarterback. So we need to know where he's going to be at so we know when we could turn anything into a wash to wash by. I always want to tell my guys, get him to a second move. Okay, second, if anything, third move. Now, some guys in defense will say, hey, if I'm getting to my second move, I've worked out my chop, I've done a chop, and I can my spinning sides, my second move, I'm great. But sometimes the guys will want to start changing their weight and transition their weight in different ways within their rush. If you get them to that second move, you're now thinking that mental clock in your head is 4 seconds. Now that ball should be gone. You can keep working. But if you get them to that second move where they've had to stop their momentum to make a drastic change and you're in a great position in your knee-to-crotch relationship, then I think we're going to win more battles than we're going to lose at that point. And then as most important with everything, you just have to protect with passion, right? Everyone just protects with passion. You protect this game. It's absolutely like it's the fight to the death. It's like you got to protect your mother, father, or your guardian, whoever is the most important to you. That's how they're trying to get to him, which you treat as your quarterback. We understand that we're going to protect with all that passion. Okay, so looking at my fundamentals that I'll teach with my kids, I want a nice base. I want my knees inside your ankles. You want to be your feet outside your hips. Gives you the rough, a good aim point on how your base is going to be. Okay, you want to be able to bend the knees and ankles. We don't want back benders. Okay, I try to teach my guys don't be back benders. The kid in the image here, Mark, he's our nationally recruited tackle guy right now, about to go into senior, and he's 6'7", 291. But, he's actually got a really good knee bend, and he's better than that. He's not really a back bender, but I've had guys same sort of height and build that can bend at the back. So we want to try and refrain from that. Okay, I like to have the weight slightly inside. I'm not one of those super heavy lean inside, but just slightly inside. okay, because you know you're going to be able to transition, and if you have to post down inside or power down inside, and that cross face me, which we'll come up to in a second here. So working on guys. So I'm like, yeah, I was trying to think about keep that weight slightly inside. With the upper body, we're working also low to high, which we'll talk about in terms of the independent hands in certain situations. And then, I mean, the chest up, shoulders relaxed. I think guys sometimes can be too tense. Okay, have their hands right down by the thighs. His hands are a little higher here in the image. Don't have to be right up super high, but I'm looking at probably sternum above my belly button, so I'm ready to be able to get my strike. Okay, so when I'm there to shake that, when I'm shaking his hand and I can strike from low to high, striking up. Okay, so I want to have that ability so I can be relaxing the shoulders, and then I can refrain from getting that full extension or being too tight and being late on our strikes. Okay, so going into a little bit more detail on my sets, like I said, so we got hard, we'll post or power down, you know, that's more for our sort of our quick game. Okay, a little bit of our play action that we run. Okay, we try and be a little bit more working hard down, you know, keeping square, you know, you may have to tilt an angle a little bit because you want to give a bit of a run read. Okay, so you may be working a slight 45, working down block. But you're looking at trying to be violent, hard, square, and post down. Now, one of the things that I'm going to be looking to tweak and change a little bit with our guys is if we're working on our slide protection and our guard has to slide down to a one tech, and say, for example, he is the right guard and you slide into his left. Okay, you know, usually we can post down and power down. You're going to be strong with your hip up and inside. Or actually, we're going to start working a little bit of sliding down and actually switching from a right guard stance to a left guard stance. And now you're working like you can keep that nice natural wash and keep that knee to crotch relationship out that way on your slide protection. It's something you're going to be looking at and tweaking at, because I've got a couple of kids that have the ability to do that. You know, so it's just that slight adjustment, try something a little different, because I've been seeing a lot of talks about how they work on powering down to a one tech in particular and switching their feet and their stances to turn themselves into that natural side, whichever it may be. If you go into our left, it'll be a left-handed stance. 45, like I said, knee to crotch. You know, when we talk about twist pickup, I talk a little bit about it. I'm looking forward to listening to Coach talk about his twist pickup stuff that he has coming up. Yes, Coach, so I've just got the chat here. Yeah, so when I said, you know, switching. So when we slide, and it's something to look at. So when the guy is in the right-handed stance and he has a one take over the center, and if I'm sliding to my left, okay, if you, rather than trying to be sliding down, and it's a little harder for you to, you miss it because that guy gets a nice chart, whatever he works in that inside move. If you slightly switch your feet and then turn yourself into a left-sided play, you're now going to be in a more natural position. Then you can wash him and take him out flat. You know, it's a way of thinking, and I've been seeing some coaches talk about and show, and I wish I had found some clips on it, but it's something that I think your body position makes sense in how you do it. It doesn't stop you from dropping your hips. You're still trying to keep yourself square. You're just adjusting your feet slightly to get that slide. I think it makes it more natural for you. But I've got kids, because I teach kids both left and right, so I think it allows us to have that ability to do that. But it's something, and I mean, I'll actually find the clips that I was talking about, and some coaches have been talking about it, do it at the pros, and I think that's what they do at the Browns. I think that's what Scott Peters and Coach Callahan work on doing too. So it's a new concept, so I'm going to try and air at the moment in off season, see how we do. Just pick up, like I said, we're going to go into that a little bit, but obviously I know there's a coach going to be talking about what he does. I'm really looking forward to seeing that, because we get a lot of twist games and when the teams that we play out here. Independent hands working sort of low to high, strike points, and we'll get to that in a second in a bit more detail. And then I'm a vertical set guy, so I'm looking at working at sort of wide rush alignment, you know, looking to work the shoulder wash. You know, it's one of those things, you know, we're just trying to get to our spot. You know, we're going to have to think about mixing a 45 to a vertical. That could be 2 to 3. It could be 2 45s, 1 vertical. It could be 3 45s, or 2 verticals. Whatever it may be in that rush guy, whatever he's trying to do to allow you to get your width and keep your hips. Our kids have to get used to that, and that's what we talk about, understanding our leverage. Okay, so one of the main things we do here, and I do my guys, is we talk about our strikers and our ranges. Okay, so we'll talk about the handshake principle, but I have different strike ranges. So we talk about in our drill, which we have, I've got some drill film for you, is we talk about the ranges. So we'd work in, if he's in range, he's tight, which is in range, which means I can take my step, I could take one set right now, and I'm going to have contact. That's someone that's in range right now. So he split you in half. He's probably foot to foot. If you got that range, then you know, okay, I'm good. He's in my range. Now, if he gives me his chest, we're looking at the guys turning their chest, because you're kind of simulating working maybe an arm over, okay, whatever the defensive move would be at that time, or what they're trying to work on, but it'll be an arm over, excuse me, here. So we'd work on that. Now, we can also look at keeping our hands inside and our elbows tight, okay? It's real simple. It's the easiest one. Chest, boom, strike inside, elbows tight. You compress that, you bring that in, you don't allow them to make any other moves on top of that. And then we go in range, and they're trying to give you that shoulder, trying to give you that dip. So now if they're going to try to work a chop rip, or they're just trying to, anything that's going to give you their shoulder that's tight, they're going to try and make themselves skinny in the gap. Then we're looking at now working our sort of our independent hands. Now we want to be able to strike on the chest with our inside hand, and our backside hand should be on our hips. We're working low to high. If they transition in any different way, then we can switch our hands from inside being low to high. Okay, so we're chest and hip, and like I said, I've got some clips where you can see the kids working on that. My head should be pretty much within the shoulder, into the armpit. One kid where, he's got his head a little further out, but you want his guys to be kind of in here tight. Then you're going to pin your elbow inside. So if they're trying to rip you inside, you can pin your elbow down and stop them from trying to finish and clearing their pads and their rip. Okay, and when you push down on that hip, on the aiming point, when you're trying to work down on that hip, that stops them from being able to spin comfortably and easily. When we get out of range chest is the same thing as would be in range. You're looking to try and get your hands inside. When that happens, you're going to be more patient. But really, we work on out of range and the shoulder. So usually for our tackles, you got that wide 9 or wide 7, however you do your count on the outside. And if it's a guard, it's when he's had to work a slide all the way out to a 5 tech, because we've got a team working a stick inside or any sort of slant movement inside. Now we're working to get that, and they're going to try and dip on you. You're going to strike and punch the surface right in the shoulder. We want to work him on the shoulder because it's going to be low if you get that strike, and you'll be striking down a little bit if he's trying to get low on you. Then you work on that shoulder, and if he keeps that balance, and you can work that wash, and we can extend out and wash him past the quarterback. And then, like I said before, our QB depth, we understand we've got a quick game. We do our deep play action, dropping down to 7 and 9. We do a little bit of 3-step and 5-step, and then obviously our pistol, our shotgun, a quick step. So we understand what their depths are, and then we can work accordingly to that. So our first look here, and a couple of clips for you, is our is going in range and chest. Okay, so we're working here with our right tackle, just focusing on the guys inside, the guys on the left. Freshman, we're working our guys inside, so we're working here. He's got his tight, he's foot to foot. Now he's going to go in range on chest, and you'll see our tackle here. He'll get his strike. He'll have his elbows tight, get his hands inside, and he'll have his feet still moving, a little busy. Okay, he's just trying to keep that muscle memory that there's different transitions and weight. I always want to make sure that my guys, this guy in particular, your defensive guys, that we want to make sure that they actually understand what they're trying to do and do it properly. Okay, the biggest pet peeve you have is that they just give you a lazy effort, poor reps. If you've got defensive line and you coach both, bring them along, that's great. If not, make sure they understand the technique, what they're trying to shoot to show and give a good look for your guys. Okay, so that's one of those things that drives me batty at times. So we're here. You try not to overset. I need a crutch. This kid's obviously 6'7". The other kid's 6'5", so a little taller. The hands inside. He's just keeping his feet busy. Switch it up. Then we got our next kid. Here. Making his knee to crotch. So he gets a little long of his step. Okay, so the time is perfect. He's tight. He's got longer legs. And he just gets right outside. So he doesn't go very far. You know, the D rep, he should be a little bit wider. But right here, if it's that tight, that's fine. Keeps it tight, keeps it easy. Then we go and work, we'll see on our left side, because we want to teach guys both sides. You know, if you have to be exclusive, then so be it. But I was trying to teach them both sides, because you never know what game situation you may have that you'll be like, hey, I'll have to, you know, you're going to have to go and play left tackle, or you're going to have to go and play right tackle. So let's get everyone comfortable in what we're doing. And this is just in our off season, so we keep it nice and easy, just get into our fits, busy feet, good strikes, get in our spot, knee to crotch. Always looks like they're really overselling him when they got longer legs and the taller guys, but no, he's in a good spot right here. Just keep him busy feet. A little wider. His next rep. Now you want a defensive guy to really turn 45 when he's trying to show his chest. Love this kid. He just has his moments where he just can be a little lazy and giving his looks for these offensive guys, but you want to really change that. Show like you're going to do an arm over or swim, whatever, however you still want to, however you coach that technique, or those guys coach you for defensive line. And then now we're looking at some other guys. Okay, so this was a tackle. This is a couple of my kids from last year now, and he's a little quick of his set, right? I think he gets a little wide of his base, but he's just, which you want to be okay with, but you know, you don't want him to end up oversetting too much. This is a quick set, but you can see the defensive players just trying to give him that chest. He's turning as if he's going to be able to do an arm over or club, anything's going to be outside, maybe even a swipe. He's going to turn that chest. So then we got our in range and dip. And so when we're working here on in range and dip, so this kid gets himself a little out here, a little bit too wide, gets his head out, but he's got his hands in pretty much the correct spot. So I want to be able to have in that chest or to that near side pec, and his backside hand to be on the hip. But he just opens out, gets his head a little bit away from the shoulder here. But it's a little quicker on his set. When we work in here, he's got longer guys. He's got to pin that elbow when he's trying to stop that rip. Strike. I got a couple of shots on the other angle so you can see it. But he's understanding his leverage. You know, the guy's a little wider, but he's still in range because he knows he's taller. He's our tackle, so he's just working on that rip. I'm trying to be pinned and working on his set, sorry. Now here he gets a little, so now when we get to here and on our left side, he gets a little lazy. His backside hand. You get a little long, a little loose on it. It's not a great rep. Sometimes you don't get great reps. And then we're just going to get on them, even in the off season. And from another angle. If we're not lagging too much for you guys here. But from another angle, at least we know he's going to be striking on a chest bone, pec, and then working on the hip. It's a little longer with it, but he's just trying to really get a good feel where he needs to get to his spot. His hands right now here on the hip. I really want to turn my shoulders on that dip. I really want our defensive guy to really almost have his back to him when he's turning, working that rip, working around that corner. Okay, so our outer range and our dip. Okay, so now he's got a wide alignment. Okay, so when we go out of that range, he's going to be working that wash, and he's going to end up figuring he has to think about his set. So he has to think about, okay, now I'm at 45s, a couple of 45s or 145s. I've got longer legs to maybe two verts. Is he a speed guy outside? Is he a guy that's trying to work moves inside? What is film dictated? So now he understands. I mean, he's going to understand his leverage. So now when he thinks, well, this guy's a speed rush outside, then he'll get to his sets. He's going to win that set with his feet, and then he can strike a surface on that shoulder. He just gets off just a little bit and a peg, but now he's going to step, and he's good to go. This is a couple of the younger kids. A couple of younger kids working here. So a new kid that's just joined us this year, and then this is just a freshman and a sophomore. We're bigger, but he's a center / guard, so he's going to be flatter with his slide to get out there. But he's just going to be working that strike right in that shoulder surface and then work that wash. All right, here we go from the other angle. Strike, and then wash him upfield. You can extend that arm out, really run him by. So here we're going to be striking. The shoulder, the surface, yep, and wash him right by. If you'll see, our tackle here kind of extends his arm out right at the end. He gets long with it. It's going to be violent. It's a violent strike. As soon as he's striking the shoulder and he's turning upfield, you're going to really press him out. You've got to get him violent and start running him by. I think we get another one. He does a pretty good job of it here. Yeah, boom. Extend out. Wash him right by. Strike, work, extend him out, wash him right by. Hopefully I'm not lagging here, Coach. It seems like I'm kind of watching on my 2 laptops. I'm just hopefully the screen's not lagging.
No, it looks good.
Cool. Okay, thank you, Coach. So yeah, so washing him right by. Okay. And then so this is, I said, now we got a younger guy, you get a freshman. Okay, I coach the varsity and basically the JV guys. The freshman gets coached by a freshman guy, so he's brand new to what I'm working with. We try to keep everything unified, but it was a new coach coming in. He's doing a really great job. So, but this kid's got some habits we're trying to break right now. So, and the guy he's going against is a sophomore, trying to be a junior. So they're a little raw in terms of what they're doing. Okay, so it's a little different, but he kind of gets out and goes independent's hands. Okay, that could happen if the guy's going to run through him, but you don't want him to. The issues I see here is his knee opens out too quickly. You know, there's a couple of reps before where it was terrible. So you're trying to keep him patient with that. He kind of straight verticals, doesn't get necessarily any width and turn. So these are the sort of the points I try and instill in the guys and try and coach them up on. Okay, so those sets and ranges are probably, if there's anything you're going to do, like you can do it as EDDs. If you want to do it as part of your practice, you get down into your sort of your spring and summer is just working on strike ranges, getting the timings right, understanding the feel and the look. Okay, he's flipping to arm over me, or work a club and arm over. He's looking to dip, rip on me. Okay, you're going to work those different moves. He's working a chop, anything that's just, it shows you the shoulders and the hips turning and get that timing right, just can get that feel right. Now we work transition. Okay, so we can go from 2-point stance or 3-point, you know, they're still working a strike, working from low to high, you know, it'd be a lot of independent hand work. We always talk about our base. Okay, gets the defender to line with his foot to foot. Okay, or knee to crotch. However we want to do that, you might get a little wider at times too. Okay, but really want it to be tight. Now we start replacing hands. So you do your hand replacement work. You try to simulate what we do in the game. So the first few will be working a chop. So they just chop, replace it. Working a set, chop, replacing their hands. Okay. And then you may progress it to something else. And so for me, we do here, what we see here, we'll work on a chop, then we're working on a chop to a spin. Okay, and then we work on some starter steps, a cross face, and then we work on a couple of other different things. And then the next time we do a session, might be something else. We might be working clubs and swipes and so on and so forth. So it's just getting used to doing the hand replacement work, getting that movement with their set. They can get their knee and the crotch and their body relationship right too. Okay, and then when we know we're going to get that cross face, whether it be a starter step or spin back inside, we shut the door down and we are aggressive. Okay, we are shutting the door down and we are really aggressive. Okay, let's get onto this for you here. So he's just outside chop, keeps his inside up and tight, ready to go for any changes inside. He's keeping knee to crotch, and he's just rapid fire. Rapid fire. He go for probably 3 to 5 yards. You can go to a whistle, whatever you want it to be. You just want to keep it rapid fire. Some guys, he's a little longer with his hands, then he gets it tight. Okay, so when you're looking at what you're trying to your different coaching points. He's just got longer legs, so he knows he's going to have maybe a wider base, but his hands can get a little long, and you'll see some film of him where that becomes a bit of an issue for him in a couple of plays. Okay, so he's going to be doing rapid fire. Some guys are working their cross chops, whatever it may be. Tight hair gets a little long, but he's keeping it tighter. Inside hands a little low, but you can. Those are the kind of things you want to be working up for him. Okay, he's got long arms, so he's able to kind of do that, and he's a pretty strong kid. And then we start working a spin. So we're working a chop, 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 spin. You tell him, hey, kids, do 2, 3. You decide when you want to spin. I don't want to make it obvious so he knows he's ready for you. You want to get used to the feel of the transition of weight. Okay, so as you can see here, he's going low to high. He's outside. He feels it inside. He's got hands on contact at all times, but then his backside hand is right there on the hip. Okay, then he gets his inside hand on the chest, and then he can start driving him up, being low to high, and be violent, shutting that door down inside. Some of our younger guys. So just chop, 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 working that spin. You've got a good base. Allows him to keep his hips square. As soon as he feels that transition, boom, you can shut that door down and get aggressive inside. Gets a little wider out here, but it's not too bad. Then we get starter rip. Okay, so you're trying to work that starter step. Obviously, some of your bigger guys may not be great at doing it, but at least he gets that sort of take a couple of steps upfield and then trying to cross face. I'll skip. I've got another one here, so I want to make sure I get to some film. Then now he crosses face. Try not to drop our hips too much. And just working on that post. My best drill for hand replacement, I really like when I do it in transition. I think it gives us that sort of real in-game situation, but I also do run it in terms of just our static, hand replacement, half man. You're just on your spot, resetting, working whether it be inside chops, outside, double swipe inside. We'll do all of those the old traditional ways, but I like doing it within my transition to get them used to it because that's what we see a lot of. Okay, our defensive line is really good. And the coach is really good, and they're very hands-based. They're very good at being aggressive with their hands. So we'll do a lot on transition because you want to simulate the game situation. So right here within this drill, because it helps with your hips too, he's just getting used to that beginning chop. Just replace, replace, replace. Because it's rare you find that you're going to get your hands have to get knocked down, replaced, and you're both static. It's always a movement that's happening. And then here, you can see this one. I think he oversets here, so he ends up dropping his hips a little bit, and he's too late. Okay, now that's because of his set. You watch his first step, trying to get to the up. He's a little high with his kick there, oversets, and then the kid takes one step, crosses his face, so he gets a little bit too deep. And then now he's chasing. Okay, so when we're just doing our twists and our stunts here, for me, and I know Coach, I don't want to labor it too much because Coach is going to be doing the talk about it. But our main thing is everything will be obviously stop the penetrator. You want to flatten him out. Got to be aggressive and physical about it. And you'll see a couple of clips here real quick. The guys are not doing a great job of flattening out so much, but some are. The easiest way for the guys to understand, I teach my guys to understand the different levels. What we get is if he's hard, you're hard. So if he's rushing hard, boom, you're rushing. You're flattening out, striking hard. If he's soft, then you got to be soft, and then you got to start working back inside or outside, depending on which way the stunt's going. Okay, if he's hard, you're hard. If he's soft, okay, the alarm bells are ringing. Now get my eyes, get my body back inside. Now with my tackles, and you'll see in a couple of film clips, when they set, they'll have their inside hand in, but they've got their eyes on their defender too. Okay, and who they're looking at because they want to feel if they feel any pressure from the stunt just before the communication of a bump or switch call gets made, they're ready to kind of work back inside because they can bump call if you're getting that end stunt inside. Okay, so you'll see them strike with their hands out, and some of them be a little loose with it here. working on their sets. They can keep their levels right, and then they can work back inside. And for our center, when we get our sort of nose or nitro or our nose stance inside, we do the same. So on our slide protection, when he's coming down and he's sliding, he's got a one tech, he's got to slide away from it. He can put his hand towards that just to help allow the guard to get there. Now, if we do the switching of the feet, it'll be really interesting to see how those guys work it. But with a stunt, he can see it's coming back. He feels it here. Then it's coming over the top. Then now he knows he can take over. So, and you'll see a rep here where the guys are get a struggle. So right here, our first set, he doesn't flatten out enough. He leaves too much of a space, too much of a gap here right now. Communication is key. Their communication can be a little hit or miss. You know, drives me insane at times. You got to get them to really shout. But, you know, they got to flatten out here a little bit of a bump. These guys are these are younger guys too. That's a little better, a little less space. Flattening out, pass him off. The bum call. The freshman is a little unsure about it. As tight as they are, they're giving you the look of what they're going to do. But he's a little newer to it, so he's just not overly comfortable in it yet. And this is a rep here. This is what happens when you don't get it. The guy doesn't flatten out. So this is our new guard. You send a new kid. He doesn't really get a strike. He kind of just sits and waits. There's too much space. Here, he doesn't really flatten out. I mean, the guys don't give him a great look, the best looks in the world. But he needs to do a little better and being violent. He's a strong kid, man. The kid is really thick. But better their bump. As you want to see right here, now he closing down space. Mark here flattens out a lot better. And we're good to go. And then we get on the left side here. That's good. Right down. There you go. Right hip, boom, bump off each other. Make that call, flatten out. We're good to go. Okay, the one quick for the guys inside. Left guard doesn't do a great job here of flattening out so much. He gets a little confident. These guys are all super young, all brand new, kind of to it for them in their mind. So they're kind of really raw. But when we see a quick rep here, what I was talking about, if you're sliding away, so they're sliding right, center's going to put his hand up, so he misses it. Okay, so he's going to be able to get his hand. Our guard has to flatten out and do a better job. He does a lazy job. He puts his hand on the center instead of his hands on the D lineman. And he's a long kid too. He's about 6'3", so he's 6'6" with that high top fade he has, but he is a tall kid, so he doesn't do a great job here. But the next rep, the center does a little bit better. His hand's got the feel, and now he knows he can help pick him up. So it's okay. It was not the best rep. A lot to work on with these guys. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up here because I know I'm conscious of the time, Coach, for you. But now I'm going to go for some film clips, okay? So you just kind of see everything, how we're doing protection and how we try and really make sure we defend this area right here, okay? That's what we're trying to defend right now. Fortunate last year, we were pretty loaded. Got 11 guys going to Division I in 4 rides. You know, and particularly in our skill guys. So the biggest job for me was making sure we can protect and making sure our quarterback is now at Ball State. Get our ball out to the guy. We've got one receiver at Utah, one at Arizona. You know, another one we think was going to Colorado. So you got all these kids that are just dudes. You're just like, let's make sure we can protect. So I think we've got a twist pickup right here with these guys, so you can see the levels a little bit. Now you got to be a little bit patient. So our guard is patient. Okay, let me go back here a little bit. You'll see from an end zone view too. And being patient. I do have a pet peeve where I find if I see offensive linemen just standing around not doing anything, it drives me loopy. I want to make sure that, you know, there's always work. Go find work. If you've got to settle back inside, settle back inside. So technique-wise, our right tackle, gets himself a 45 and a couple of verts, so he's got himself to a good spot. Right guard clears out so he can be patient. He sets back inside. They've communicated there's a switch, and he washes him by, allows our quarterback, who's really good again in a great feel. We're able to step up, and we're protecting that zone. Left guard works back inside because he sees that stunt away. And he's able to work back inside. Our tackle's able to pick it up. This is us versus Servite, who were, I think they were number 4 in the nation at the time. So as you can see, our left tackle, the guy took a quick set, crossed his face inside. He's working that transition. We then just wash him. Didn't shut the door down. Well, then I'm going to wash him right across the quarterback's face, take him out of the zone. It wasn't the cleanest out of the zone, but it was better than what would have happened if he had given up, which, you don't ever want to see guys give up. You got to protect with passion. You see, if you watch that left tackle, if you just watch his left hand, or watch his right hand, because we knew this team running a lot of stance. He's just protecting his inside. Our right tackle does the same thing. On his set, he just puts his hand inside just to make sure you can feel anything. Nope, I can go and work outside. And we're good to go, and then good things happen. Okay, so this is where we get a breakdown in communication and understanding. So we empty out our field. We did run a little bit of empty. And this is on our tackle. Now, unfortunately, our quarterback gets rid of it. On time, we actually end up getting a 7 on it. Okay, coach, I see I'm going to be finishing up here. Give me a couple more reps. But then we're going to make sure we understand that we didn't protect the fly zone. We just got lucky that good things happened. There's just a couple I needed to show here, coach, and I'm done for you. It was one of our big rivals, because I want to make sure we see some twist pickups and then the good stuff and the bad stuff. Where was it? Oh, sweet. Okay, so this is our quarterfinal game. We were playing against Centennial, who were at the time, I think they were number 8 in the nation. They were always in the top 10. A very, very, very good team. And so we were just always making sure that we understood that they would come out sometimes in a 3-man surface, but I like to be a 4-man. But we had to make sure we understood that their stance and late blitzes, we kind of picked those up as we could effectively. Now here's a shot of where our guard gets a little long and gets beat inside. But if you watch our center, he comes and works because he knows he's got to protect that area. He gets his eyes back and picks him up right now. Boom, pick him up, clear him past the quarterback, wash him out. Okay, it wasn't complete because he felt that pressure. Tackles, getting his block, and then our center picks him up right there. And then the last 2 clips, coach, and then I'm done for you. This is what happens when you're watching a right guard again. If you end up getting a short surface and you turn your hips too quickly, you're going to give him that short edge, gets in our quarterback's face. We get a completion out of it, but it's not great. Our left guard's working on his slide. There's no work. Work back inside. Protect that zone. If you watch our right tackle here, he's blocking. He's still blocking his guy. He's still blocking. I always tell my guys, hey, if you want to block the guy, bring him to me. Protect with passion. Our right tackle right here. If you watch this kid right now, all the way through, keep blocking, playing over yet. That's why he's getting 20 scholarships and he's going to end up being in the Big Ten, potentially. And then the last clip for you, coach, and I'm done here. So a good bit of timing. And the one thing I was like about this clip is it's just a protective passion. Once again, it's looking at the right tackle. We get up. I mean, everyone across the board does a pretty good job. Our guard does a little bit better. He tries to protect his inside a little more here because the guy is now playing at a 2. And then we get a late blitz, but our quarterback obviously does his read because he knows the guy's cleared. He's gone hot, which is fine. But right now, we just watching our right tackle here. He's just blocking. He's just imposing your will. Get yourself a pancake and pass pro. You can't ask for much more than that. Right? That's protection with passion. That's protecting your no-fly zone. Okay? You just got to be violent about it. Get a strike. Everything turns into a run block in some shape or form, and then away we go. Okay, so this is my details again. Hopefully you guys got some great stuff about that. I want to try and answer any other questions for you, coach, and for you guys. But we are here to go.
Yeah, guys, hit up Coach on Twitter. He has Twitter on there, and he can answer any other questions he's got for you. Appreciate it, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the rest of the day, man. It's been awesome.
Yep.
Okay.